This program is proudly brought to you by LateNightMedia.com for all your podcasting, comedy writing, and hot steaming pod needs. LateNightMedia.com.
Conscious wisdom, challenging our skeptical, critical thinking, digging deep into the dark and the light, and exploring the depths of our mind, body, and spirit. The podcast sprinkled with science, creativity, ageless wisdom, philosophy, and conspiracy. So be part of the discussion and get involved. Be part of the action of thinking and being the revolution. Be conscious with wisdom. Conscious wisdom, challenging our skeptical, critical thinking.
Hi guys, and welcome to episode 12. We've reached the spiritual number of brilliance, and yes, it's time for a good chat about the world we live in, and we've got some great guests here to talk about this topic, which is the pandemonium of the global system, the world. What's happening these days, and why is everyone so confused? Now, on my left, a newcomer to the show, we have Bambang Pramana.
Hi.
Hey, how you going?
Nice to meet you.
Awesome. Now, I've got this massive bio from Greg. Thanks, Greg, for giving me such a massive bio. Now, you're born in East Java, Indonesia.
Yes.
So you have a way different sort of understanding of an upbringing than most people would have. And and when you're a child, it seems that you loved all the things supernatural.
Yes. If you know Bali, people know Bali like the islands of the gods. Java is next to Bali, larger island, and Java is known as the island of the mystic.
The mystic?
Yes.
Now, I hear these days that you are a modern day mystic.
Yes, actually when I joined the Conscious Wisdom group, I try to introduce myself different way, because I cannot introduce myself what I'm doing now because I'm going to retire soon.
Well, I introduced myself as that guy with the beard. So, and that worked well for me, you know. I'll just leave little pieces around for people just to know that I was there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because that's
unless you're out in West End, of course, because like everyone's got beards.
No,
in West
I'd
End.
still do that in West End.
So
we just hang out. There's more of a clan.
So I try to be authentic. And it has nothing to do with the job I'm doing now because I'm retiring anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it's just about me. And what I can bring is actually as the project management. I've been managing infrastructure projects, especially for the electricity in the past 37 years. And now, while retiring from earning money from managing projects, I will like to take on a bigger project.
And what's that big project?
The planet.
The planet. Well, that's a good project to take on.
Yes. What I've learned actually from managing projects is holding the vision. So I can call myself a generalist. A generalist is actually the one who knows nothing about everything, instead of a specialist who knows everything about nothing.
It's true. Like if I was a big Buddhist monk,
as a project manager, you holding the vision.
Yeah.
And usually I have a lot of specialists working for each area.
Okay. Yeah.
That's why holding the vision. What are we going to do with our planet, with humanity in the next 25, 30 years? So that's probably an interesting subject I would like to take on as a project.
No, it sounds fantastic. I think everyone should take on a little piece of that project and work ourselves together towards that. And also here, fantastic, it's Paul. Paul Seils, how you going?
Hey, Kris. Well, good to be back again, mate.
Awesome.
Thank
fantastic. You survived our first episode. We didn't sacrifice you to any random gods, and you're just still here.
Yeah.
Which is fantastic. Now, if you guys don't know Paul did a tremendous amount of stuff in a big country called, what was it called?
I did 8 years stint in Dubai in the Middle East.
Dubai, that's it. Dubai's the one. Now,
Amongst other
you've seen
things.
Dubai. It's massive. Now, you did a lot of architecture work.
We did landscape architecture and consultancy there for about 8 years in the Middle East, which was interesting. for the rush from about the gold rush phase from about 2002, 2009 pre-GFC. So that was an interesting time to be there.
And you could just see the opulence of this one tiny little. I guess it's a big city, but in the middle of a desert. So it's kind of like I guess the Middle Eastern version of Vegas.
Yeah, pretty much. And actually, funny, I was in LA just recently, and it had very similar feeling of energy and climate and that sort of thing in place. So
well, it's kind of strange.
Yeah,
but also I found out you're a very massive activist. I
have been.
Now tell us a bit about your activism.
Yeah.
It takes a man with balls of steel to go out there and to probably get those balls of steel hit by some random guy with a bat.
Yeah. Well, if you stick them out, you're bound to get them whacked.
Okay. That's why cricket was such a great thing, and those plastic things that protect it. Amazing.
That's where the proverbial sticking out something came
I saw you do that. Yes, and I commend you fine, sir.
Yeah, so I've had an interesting journey around being entrepreneur in business and starting in businesses and running businesses. And I did a year stint in Dubai in the Middle East, and we had a landscape consultancy up there that we built up to about 65 staff, which was interesting. And I had my experience of that. I could see the GFC coming to the area, and through the underground and the alternative media was predicting that sort of being in the pipelines. And funnily enough, it sort of seems to be echoing where we are at this point in time.
I think it's almost a blatant similarity. Like it's almost going like page to page as if we're just reading a novel.
Yep, and that's what basically happened with the bank bailouts, where the debts were passed on in the majority of countries in the world onto the citizens.
Which to me that makes no sense.
Yeah, well, it makes a lot of sense to the bankers.
To them, but to us, wait a second, did no one really think about this as like some random guy in a suit was telling him this was a good thing?
That's actually what I suggested to Craig originally. There's a shift is happening in us, the planet, the individuals, and if you try to hold the vision, changing everything. And where are we going? There's a political, global political, financial, also health. Now, just that we got this the truth about cancer. So everything is opening up. Everything is disclosure.
Mm-hmm.
So all what was kept in the closet is now open to the public. And now people start being awake. People start knowing. And especially also on the 28th of September, people said the tetrad blood moon. But the important thing what I feel is actually the speech of Putin and Obama.
Mm-hmm.
I just got chills for some weird reason just then.
Yeah.
And that's the turning point. Like I posted also on the Facebook, we have turned the page of the history.
Well, I think it is a big thing, because if you look down into the into the I guess the alignments and stuff that's happening in all the numerology, all that kind of stuff, it's a massive day. If you look at the numerology and the precession of the planets, all that kind of stuff, the energy that is being used on that day, you could see it because everyone had something going on. It's just like a lot of people saying the what new wave of consciousness is coming in on that day. And then NASA's going, oh no, it's an asteroid that's going to come in on that day. And you can see that there's something more than meets the eye underlying the motives of a lot of people during that day.
Yes, and also if you're sensitive, you can see that also beginning from 1945, after the World War II. You got the baby boomers generation, and there's a lot of, let's say, souls incarnating to change, to shift the climate of this planet, to make it more suitable for spiritual development. And let's say to be more, what you call it?
Connected.
Not only connected, but we going to make the planet suitable for further development as we're supposed to live as a human being.
Well, it makes sense. I guess in a lot of cases, when we did a lot of development, we didn't really think about the community sense in a development of a building. Like I guess when Paul, you were here last, one of the guys on the show said, like, when they build up a big high rise for people to live in, they don't build like a garden that they can all use. It's not even thought about that that's a necessity for someone living in these sort of places. I guess it's about putting these ideas into a more evolved sense of how we connect with each other and what we want to build, rather than just a huge row of boxes on top of each other. Or offices, a huge row of disconnected offices for random businesses with each other.
But if we notice also behind all this physical building, physical development, also human consciousness has rising up. People, especially in the past, since 1987, the harmonic convergence. Now, if you compare before the World War II, going to war is a normal thing. Now no one wants to go to war now. That's the difference. The human consciousness has risen up that much. And especially also last September 28, it just changed. And now we see everything is being disclosed, what the American has done.
Well, it makes things incredibly interesting, I think. Just what coloured underwear fetish random politicians have.
Yeah.
So Paul, what have you seen like that's been happening in your realms?
Well, I just wanted to expand on that because you asked me the question. I probably didn't answer it properly, but further in relation to the activism stuff. I mean, I got involved with Occupy, and ironically and coincidentally, like today is the anniversary of the Occupy movement. Today, 4 years ago, 15th of October, 2011, and to watch that unravel. I think it was interesting. It played out. I mean, I keep operating in this duality of optimism and pessimism that keeps sort of swinging backwards and forwards. And some days I think things are going really well, and I don't watch TV and don't really buy or read newspapers, but I'm really quite aware, particularly through social media and alternative media, what's going on. So I keep modulating between pessimism and I think what's happening on the other hand, there's this duality of increasing awareness, but also this darkness or shadow that's coming in as well. Is that we're like dangerously close to World War III at the moment.
But I think there's a perception about that which is different, because I think if someone just went, okay, we're going to go into World War III, I think we finally would just get together and go, hey, screw you guys. Like, what? Wait, you want a World War III? No, because I see a lot of things which happen, especially in Iceland, which is coming about, where they're going to go like, oh, the bankers were going to put all this stuff on, and they just went, screw you guys. They threw them all in jail. So as soon as I hear this war banter coming through, why aren't people just getting together and just going to these leaders and going, actually, you're going to jail now. We're not having this warmongering, this childish kind of ranting sort of stuff. You want to go to war, which is, I think, when you look at it, it looks like a very childish way to or easy way to just get your point across by going to wars and doing this war kind of theatre.
No, actually, what I sense is not going to war, but it's a polarization. The duality becoming more contrast. So either you this side or the other side, and that's why these two are conflicting each other. But then it's actually, this planet is the planet of choice, so you can choose whichever you want to be, this side on that side. And I'm not, that's relative if you're talking about war. Are we going to be to go to World War III, or are we already in the World War III?
Yeah, that's a good point.
I always